Welcome to the Upholstery Show, live from Arlington, Massachusetts. We're going to serve you up a beautiful bowl of coconut fiber. Really? Well, here we go. It never gets old, you guys. We have a special guest in our studio audience in row 5, seat number 10. If we can, if the camera can pan over there to see if you can find him amongst all the never gets old either. But we want to stay a little focused this week, Jimmy, because
what? Why?
last week
I was just ready to snooze.
Last week we were kind of off focus a little bit, and it all was because of the coconut fiber factor there.
Yeah, but who brought that up?
We'll try to stay focused. Jimmy will be chiming in as we go along, and then towards the end, I want to show the progress. We actually made a breakthrough in the online classes for Jimmy today. I don't know if he realized it, but today he finished with his last stitch on the restoration of a settee that he's doing, which I got to tell you, it's a lot of work, right, Jimmy?
A lot more than I expected, especially with the seat. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people, when they do the work on sofa or settee, a chair, then you have to really remember that is one of the really basic lessons to remember.
It's the most work, and it dawns on me, and we'll have you up here, but Jimmy even today was asking a good question, and hopefully I'll remember it, about why there was a gap in between the seat and the deck. Whereas if I were doing that on YouTube, I would have just gone right through it without really verbalizing it. But Jimmy actually made me stop to explain once again. I think maybe I explained it once or twice, but it doesn't matter, because this class that Jimmy is doing now is going to be, I think by the time we're done, I would guess maybe 15 classes. And I still think, you guys, online classes are the best value on the YouTube by far, because of the questions, right, Jimmy?
Well, the questions, and I think we've come up with some total rehab jobs and an awful lot of education.
Yeah, you seem to be drawn to those restoration jobs.
I don't know what it is, I swear. I look at it and say, oh my, I had no idea this was as bad as it was.
For all of you who don't know, or just tuning in for the first time, a restoration of upholstery means you take it down to the frame and build up. That's a lot harder, probably a lot harder than just reupholstering. And I'm going to talk about reupholstering and how to teach a class specifically in reupholstering. Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth going back to show people who are interested in teaching once this whole crazy thing goes away that we're in, this pandemic. I can't wait to get back to teaching a lot of people.
Oh, are you kidding me? I have 3 or 4 people all ready to go.
Really? I mean, we could teach up to 12 people, believe it or not, at once.
And that was fun.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people took the class just for the socialization, I think, Jimmy. We're missing that, aren't we, Jimmy, with all this social distancing and everything?
Saturday mornings, we just spoke about it a few minutes ago. Saturday mornings here was 9 o'clock. People would come in with coffee and muffins or donuts, whatever it was, and everybody was really revved up and ready to go. This was their time. And
there was a lot of back and forth and fun, and it was they were all adults, but it was fun. It was fun, and we used to have a radio station a local station. It's kind of like a 2-watt station.
Yes.
Here in Boston, and they have all of the. It seemed to be a station that nobody had a problem with the music. They advertised the stations 100 years of good music, and they hand-picked these songs by this fella.
Yeah, some of the older classics, some of the older songs.
Oh, you can even hear a Beatles once in a while.
Yes, that was beautiful.
And you can hear a music box.
I told you that was the station that I listened to as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
When I was home, my mother wanted me cleaning the house or baking something, and that was the radio station.
And nobody had a problem.
Don't touch it either, by the way.
Oh no, nobody had a problem with it. And the good thing about this station is it's not streaming.
No.
It's an AM station where the fellow who owns it, it's almost like his hobby, and he doesn't take any advertisement.
No.
Although he does public service announcements. So he drifts a little bit there, but hey, you know what? We've been known to drift a little bit too there, Jimmy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So let's get right to them. 10 minutes later, right? Right, Patrick?
Right.
10 minutes later, right to the
You're always on time somewhere in the world, Mr. K.
That's why. Wasn't there a country song? No, that was 5 o'clock somewhere.
I was late for you, but I still kept on coming.
That's another one. But what was I? I lost my train of thought now. That's all right. It probably wasn't a good train anyhow. It's probably the train with one cylinder going, probably. So let's get to the questions. So we have or comments. And by the way, this is a live question and answer. We started a little early because we know we're going to run over today. So for all you guys who were told a little 4:15 and we're already on, you can watch it later, the beginning. There wasn't much to see. Jimmy did a little square dance. No, I'm just kidding. So let's get right to...
Swing dance, not square dance.
I said square. Square, like a
Yeah,
square.
but I do swing. I don't do square. I can do swing, no square.
Yeah? Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I've never taken one. I will learn.
Yeah.
You want to? We can put out a dance floor here if you want.
You only need a plaid shirt and dungarees to do that.
Yeah, maybe a straw hat. You know, kind of, let's get,
That's an image that we don't want to see.
I know, probably not. I know.
So Jimmy, we got Ashley says she's commenting on the upholstery at dining room chair part 2 webbing. She says, I don't know why I was laughing so hard during your story you told.
What story was this?
She said, I must have told a story in this. Patrick, that's a little unusual, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That we tell funny stories during a YouTube video. Have we ever done that?
That was a long series of...
So Ashley says, I don't know why I was laughing so hard during your story you told of the guy who stapled his stomach. Don't worry, nobody got hurt in the filming in that story. It was the man was well packed in the front,
Okay.
and what happened was he you got to be careful, you guys. Serious, no, this staple
hurt.
gun is 80 pounds of pressure. Never have your fingers there; that really would hurt. But this gentleman, and really be careful when you're using. Try not to use your hammer. This is this part. It's kind of like a leverage, because that's what he was doing. He was kind of like trying to pull the fabric at the same time with the lever.
Oh,
and
okay.
he was standing. Now this is not, you guys, I'll show you. I'll recreate what happened. This is going to be fun, right, Jimmy?
Well, for you.
I'm not going to recreate it completely. I don't have the hose attached to it, and the staples
we
aren't
can
going
hook
to
that
come
up for you right now. Hold on.
No, I don't want to be that realistic. But what happened was he was standing close, and he was going, oh, and he should have done this. And he had both hands. And he slipped, and he pulled. He pulled
no way.
Yeah, he pulled the trigger. But what the interesting part was, instead of just saying "ow, that hurt" and taking the gun away, is some type of animal reflex kicked in, and he's just all over his stomach. Like, did you get Jimmy's face? Oh, you gotta get Jimmy's face.
Oh, God.
But it ended up like he almost used a whole sleeve of these staples.
No way.
And he had a nice white T-shirt on before this happened, and like that. And he said, "Kevin, help me!" And he came over, and all the staples. Now he wasn't.
The audience sick.
No, he wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt. I said, "Don't worry, I'm here to the rescue." Thank goodness there were the 1/4-inch staples, so they didn't go in far. But they did stick. I mean, his whole. So I said, "Don't worry, I'll rescue you." So I took his T-shirt and I just pulled the staples. I just pulled them out like that. He was fine. I said, "You can put a little, antiseptic, right, alcohol in there."
Right.
And he was fine. He had to explain to his wife when he got home, though, why he had all these little red dots on his stomach.
Well, I don't want to say anything. We're a filming show. So
But that's what Ashley was talking
Anybody who
about.
wants to know the answer, Jimmy426@AOL.com. Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys didn't mind that story, but there is a, what do they call that? There's a
Sadistic.
a tale, or what do they call that? When you're trying to make a point with the story about safety, a cautionary tale. Jimmy, come on.
Yeah, well, I haven't read any good books like that.
The cautionary tale. It is a cautionary tale.
If he had so much strength in 2 hands to try to pull that back, why didn't you?
His reflexes kicked in. His reflex. We all have reflexes, Jimmy.
Well, some more than others.
So let's go to the second question.
There's more?
Oh, there's a lot more. Janine, we better get busy here. That's why we started a little early.
I know. Did you go off a little bit? I don't. You know.
Well, it was that question was related to what Ashley. I just followed up to. I don't think I went into that much detail.
Well, but you explained the story, and that's...
Explain the story and the cautionary tale. It's told for a reason. To be safe, be very careful with these guns.
Oh, let me say that much. It's absolutely...
Let's go to Janine. She says, great question and answer. Thanks. That was last week. I wonder if she's going to like this week. I hope so. Janine's been a good sport. She's been with us from the beginning. Right, Patrick?
Yes, she does.
So Michelle says, how to use and choose trim. This was a recent one that we did. I like this one. Or was it? I can't remember, but...
No, actually, that wasn't recent.
No, yeah. Yeah, I look at that Victorian shirt that I'm wearing, and I'm thinking that was a long time ago. But how to use and choose trim, that was interesting. I think we talked about double piping, single piping, GIMP, decorative nails from French nails. Do they have buffalo head nails that you can buy that are pretty interesting, to cat's eyes, all kinds. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's probably about 20 or 30 different types of decorative nails. I bet you didn't know that, Jimmy.
No, I mean, I stick with the brass nails. I mean,
Most people stick with the French natural. It's a universal nail.
Okay.
So the next question is from Michelle. Comment. Sorry, I just read that one. Janine, the manufactured dining room chair repair kit. We just started offering these, you guys. If you're at home, and a lot of people are, and I'm going to be talking about people that are at home, people that are unemployed, people that need something to do, mothers and fathers that
Well,
want.
Kevin's house. What's the address?
Well, no, I have it better than that. I'm going to talk about how to maybe set somebody up that you love that needs a little work, that you can even pay them a little bit to do the work on upholstery. Set them up in the garage if you've got a garage. I'm going to give tips on how to do that.
What, build a garage?
No, not build a garage. I can't do that. That's your thing, Jimmy. I've seen your garages. They're like that square dance barn up there in New Hampshire we talked about last year.
Come on,
It's not a square.
Come on, let's do that song again for everybody.
No, that's okay. See, you're wandering again now, Jimmy. We asked you before this started to keep focused.
It'll never happen.
It's all my fault. Janine says, great tips and great kit. I hope this gets to a wide audience, as it will save the homeowner a lot of money. I couldn't have said it better than that. That's why one of the reasons we're offering them on the online upholstery supply, BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com, Jimmy. And we know Jimmy told us that he's got a full shopping cart that he's had for many, many weeks, and it's full to the brim. He just hasn't bought anything. And we're wondering, well, take something out, or is that true,
no,
Jimmy?
I tried. I didn't know what the webpage was like initially, so I said, well, let me see what you guys have.
Right, so you filled the shopping cart out.
I was like, oh my God.
And we were looking at this person, they got this
and
whole...
then, you know what? Then the person who I was going to get space from...
Oh, right. Speaking of garages, speaking of barns.
They canceled all of a sudden because of wintertime.
Oh, that stinks. Maybe in the spring,
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Spring's right around the corner. And then Janine says, on the Victorian chaise, returns after 40 years. So I had a piece that it's gone now. The customer loved it. Do I have a story about that, delivering that? No, she just loved it. I brought it back. So 40 years ago, I did a chaise, a Victorian chaise, and the customer found me. She had to dig a little bit because I've made a couple of moves since then. Woo, have I been around, Mm-hmm. Talk about focus, right? So I've in every capacity. I think I've done retail. I've done clothes shops. I taught for 4 years as a therapy. Now I'm in a 10-year retail business now, and then the new thing that we're doing is the online stuff, right?
Right. The world is evolving.
We've evolved with the world. I think I'm growing another thumb somewhere in there, Jimmy. We're evolving so much, right?
The Life of an Upholsterer by Kevin Kennedy.
It's all about evolving. So she says.
And then we'll have a sequel. We'll have your wife draw up the book, write a book about living with the master.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Wow, this
I don't think you want to know about
complimentary. What a nice fella you are. Janine says, beautiful shades. Always love learning more about tufting. Thank you. So I did get into the tufting a little bit on that, Patrick. I forgot about that. So we showed you a little bit of the tufting, and I think on that one there, if you guys want to see that, you guys should take a look at that. I think the takeaway to that video, Jimmy, is don't use a busy pattern on a beautiful tufted furniture. use a fabric that you can see the workmanship in the tufting.
Yes.
Okay, the only person that wants a busy fabric on a tufting is a beginner maybe, or somebody that's not that skilled, that doesn't show up that much, right?
Oh, I don't know. I think I learned early on with seeing everybody else's projects here in the classes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and then of course, doing the project for this particular gentleman, the color that he wanted was fine. There was a lot of fabric for it, but the patterns were so big and so very nice. But I said, geez, if they were only smaller, if they were only more fitting for the piece.
Good for you. So you're recommending fabric types too,
Yes.
because you've learned that scale. I wanted my Boston accent. SCALE, not
E.
E. Scale is important. It really is. If you put a 36-inch repeat on your little French settee, that's you're gonna if it's a bird, one wing's gonna be chopped here, the other wing's here,
Yeah, kind of like a bad wallpaper job.
Well, that's right. Wallpaper too can be tricky, can it, with the matching? You got to be careful what you
You're
pick up.
spending much more money.
So we're on to Emily's email. Does that come with the picture, Patrick?
Yes.
Patrick, you guys who are watching, I think the production level of this show. I'm going to give my son a little bit of a shout out here, Jimmy, and Michaela, and Jimmy too, with knowing where to stand. All of this isn't easy. I mean, he's got overheads, he's got the front, he's got 3 shots here on the online classes, but on these classes he's got 2, and he's got all of this production worked out beforehand. Obviously, he's given me, sometimes it runs so smoothly, I fail to see just exactly how much production is in the background here, which is, Patrick already has the chair up there for Emily's email, I guess. That's what I was trying to say. And I'll read her email now. Is the email written up there too, Patrick?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hello, this is from Emily. Hello, I've been following you on YouTube for a while and I've learned a lot. Exclamation point. However, I have a few questions I haven't been able to answer. I was hoping perhaps you might help. I found this lovely antique high-back chair a couple of years ago and fell in love. I hadn't ever done any refinishing projects at that point, and I asked my friend who works in theater design if she would refinish it for me. She said yes. Well, long story short, I'm left with a half-finished chair. It was taken apart, no pictures or notes taken along the way, and given back to the completely stripped. I have no idea what the insides were like, other than that there was real horsehair inside that she threw away. Oh, Jimmy, did you hear that? She threw the horsehair away. Oh. She said and then she goes on, I died when I heard that. She knows the value, if she's watched the show before, which she has,
Yes.
the value of the horsehair.
Coconut fiber, well, we can ditch that.
Well, yeah, we've been it makes me smile. But horsehair, the reason that horsehair is so valuable is that each little, it's worth saying again, it's shaved from the horse, by the way. It's not the tail of the mane. The horses aren't killed for their horsehair.
No.
They keep grooming the horses. They
Yes.
feed them well because that's their bread and butter. I mean, the people who are selling horsehair, right? And they're feeding the horsehair very well, because when it comes in, it's been clean, but you can see, how hair has, after you shampoo it, has that glow to it, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
That flowing, curly, proud look,
Yeah,
The horsehair comes like that.
you get it.
No, and it comes, it comes in like 15-pound blocks,
Okay.
and it's in a nice clean box. It's beautifully cleaned, and it's well, you have to pick it to put on your furniture. But the horsehair is about this long from the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a little spring. It's curly. It looks like a
Yes.
pigtail, right? And each one of those horse hairs, each individual hair, has a little bit of a spring to it. So imagine that on furniture. So imagine that. And I've seen horsehair 100 years, and it still has that little spring to it.
It's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
That's why it's valuable. It's expensive. That 15-pound back. Guess how much that 15 pounds of horsehair costs?
Over $100.
I think last time I looked, the retail value was about $900. Well, how
What?
much is it, Patrick? How much is it for? How much do we sell it for? Do you know?
Close to that, depending on how much. 500, I think.
500. Yeah.
Oh my God, wow.
It's worth it if you're doing a job like this, though. and that's the minimum we sell.
Haven't had many sales of that.
No, because there's a replacement. It's called a girl that's some type of a very odd relationship with this girl. You know what her name is? Polyurethane. She could be, I don't know. Sometimes I don't like using her. I'd rather use the horsehair.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, for my project, we didn't get a chance to do that.
So you'll be dating Polly with your project?
I'm sorry to say, but yes.
All right. Well,
Enjoyed it too.
sorry about that, Jimmy.
Yeah, you know, the low point of my life.
But it is a cheap replacement. Sorry, and it actually does somewhat duplicate what the horsehair does.
Well,
if you're careful using it and the right thicknesses and everything.
Yes.
Right. So she goes on, she says, I have learned a fair amount about reupholstering furniture since I initially acquired that chair and would like to finish it myself. I have some beautiful purple velvet fabric picked out along with silver decorative nails. Whoa.
Velvet.
And did you hear that, with the silver decorative nails? What do you think, Jimmy?
Well, wait a minute. Now we're going to have a contest here, I think.
Why is
Because
that?
I have a chair that I haven't touched yet that I've told you about that I want to do.
Yeah.
I bought blue velvet fabric.
Blue velvet.
Yes.
You and Elvis.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm going to use, I believe, gold.
Gold.
So
Wow.
we're gonna see what we have.
I'm telling
We're
you.
gonna see the finished product. I want to see the finished product on this one.
I'd like to see the room that goes in.
Oh yeah, baby, classy. That's purple. Oh my God! Wow, that is classy.
Jimmy, you're surprised every time. And she goes on, she says, if you could please tell me what layer structuring you would suggest for the chair back and seat, I would deeply appreciate it. Well, Emily, the best advice, she says, thank you so much for your time and consideration. So Jimmy, hearing what Emily says, what online class do you think she should, I think it would be definitely worth her while to buy one of those classes, if not subscribe. I'm not sure, is Emily a subscriber to the classes, Patrick?
No, I don't recall an Emily.
I think if she isn't, she might not be, because I think she would have gotten her answer on the online classes. Because
You have
you've
something
done
on your YouTube videos for that?
well, not to the in-depth, that she's looking for. She's asking a lot of in-depth questions, and she needs instruction. I mean, she needs solid instruction. I think that you know what class, Patrick? I think Michelle's class there would be good, but I think that
The chair that she did?
the East Lake chair that she did, yeah, it has a seat in the back, it has springs, it has horsehair, I believe. She went to, you should check that class out, Emily. I think I would recommend that. That's what I would recommend.
Deborah says, looks like I better start brushing my horse for free.
She's got a horse?
That's what I said. She's from Idaho, so that explains it. She's
Well,
a band up there.
I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The good news is
I
I'm
was
glad
looking at real estate this morning from Idaho.
you were? You going
Well,
up
Jimmy,
with Jimmy?
we're looking in Colorado.
Are you?
Jimmy,
Yeah.
are you going to be a potato farmer?
Hey, look at very nice houses out there.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Idaho's expensive.
I know, it's a dream. Some people have these dreams. But Deborah, right, Patrick?
Yes.
I've had some good news and I got some bad news about a horse. The good news is I'm glad she has a horse, and I'd like to know the name of it. The bad news is the horses that they take horsehair from are Polish. It's a Polish import.
Maybe she has them.
Does she have a Polish horse? I want to know. But they're the hairy-bodied horses, I guess. I don't know the name, Jimmy. If you want to Google it to see.
Well, me and Michaela volunteer at a horse farm.
Well,
we
you
can
could-
ask. We can ask.
Would
them.
you ask the person that runs that? Did you guys know that my son and his girlfriend, they volunteer at a horse rescue, right?
Yes.
So how many horses do they have, Patrick?
That's a question for Michaela.
I wonder, you guys, if Patrick had a fascination for horses with his connection to the horsehair that I use at the shop. Maybe as a young boy, he saw me using the horsehair and wanted to see what the rest of the animal looked like.
Okay.
Well, there's that drifting that we were talking about. But anyhow, we like to have fun too, right, you guys? Come on. I know I can be a blowhard, but Patrick knows that. He doesn't get half of the things I talk about anyhow. So maybe that's a good thing.
Gabrielle has joined in.
Hey, Gabrielle, did you know Patrick and Michaela
We
volunteered?
spoke on
Horse
Gabrielle and I
farm?
spoke on Messenger.
What was the name of that horse? I mean,
have
what's
it
the
right
name
there.
what's the name of the type of the horse where they get horsehair from, Jimmy? Quick.
It says Conic,
Conic.
K-O-N-I.
Michaela, does that sound right?
I honestly could not tell
It's
you.
a feral
The name, I
Upholstery.
mean.
A feral.
Yeah, I,
That would make
I
sense,
don't know.
Jimmy.
But it doesn't look, I mean, except for the back of the neck.
But you might see him
Oh, wait a
shaved.
minute, take that back. Looking at the picture now, there is, oh yeah, there is a, yeah.
We're looking for feral. It's a
Yeah.
feral
Wanna Take a
horse.
look, quick look?
Sure. Why don't you put it up to the camera there?
Okay. I don't know if I can do this right or not, but.
How does that look? That could be the horse, the type of horse where they get the horsehair that we use, or not positive.
I'm not sure if that's it or not.
But it's worth a try. You guys, if anybody has a suggestion, by the way, it is a live question and answer, Jimmy, for the people, especially who are taking the online classes, and also for those who are watching the YouTube videos. This is the time they get, as long as the questions are upholstery related, unlike some of the conversation that we have here.
It's still answer as long as it isn't a troll.
As long as it isn't a troll, we have a question.
Gabrielle asks, do you know when edge wire was introduced?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, my opinion is they should have never introduced it. Edge wire, Jimmy. Jimmy would have.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah,
No, you might have had an edge wire on your SAT, but we're putting a hard edge, because I really am a believer in hard edge wire, except some pieces, like that piece that you were talking to, was it Gabriel that showed pictures of the square front? It's the only time that wire edge makes sense. The reason is, wire edge seats do not last as long. I just repaired a sofa today, went out of here, where the wire edge seat was gone, and I had to repair it. Well, it's quite a job. Quite a job. The knot on the front of that is different than the knot we use on a crown seat. But did I answer her question, or was I getting off track there, Mikhail? What was the question again? About. Sorry.
Do you know when edge wire was
When?
introduced?
When I would say the 30s. I would say the 30s on that, because that's when Art Deco started to become in vogue, and I think that's when they started looking for those more of the square looks. So that's my guess. It's a guess, though. So now Tony, a founding member of the Broadway Upholstery School. You guys, we are unbelievably impressed and happy about a couple of things on the Broadway Upholstery Forum on Facebook. Jimmy, and we want to again thank Jimmy for being an administrator. He's really good at okaying people, and I think we're up to date on all the people who want to join, and we must be approaching 200, Patrick.
Yeah, we are, I think. Suppose.
We're really happy with that, because what I see is the banter back and forth between people, and the teaching and the learning that's going on within the forum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about that too, about teaching classes live when things start for our people, like Tony, who's been a founding member, and really, I think of Pam, I think of
Pam just joined as well.
I think of Pam, I think of all of our older, I think of, sorry, Patrick, who else? Janine, I think Erica, I hope I'm not forgetting some of our people who I know. Sylvia, who I'm seeing what they're producing, and I know that they're in a category of being a teacher, and I want to get to that. But I think
those are your super fans. Then.
Super fans. we really appreciate it. Really, I mean, I'm flattered by it, that you can actually sit and show people how to do things, and that they gain from that, and that's great. So
don't forget John and Marie from Ireland.
Oh, I have to say again, I showed my wife the calendar. She was so impressed by the card. You know, I didn't see the card, Patrick, that they had put inside.
Yeah.
John, I really want to say thank you. My wife, it was like she got $1 million. She got a calendar from Ireland with the pubs we talked about, Jimmy. And I tested her like I told you what I was going to do. I was going to say, honey, do you know what the inside of this pub looks like? Because they were all on the outside. And she said, no, but I think I've seen that from the street. That's exactly the answer I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Right?
You wanted if she was one of those Irish girls.
Well, I didn't think, she said if she knew every bar, and she knew where the ladies' room was, and she knew
the specials.
she
on
knew the
Tuesday
specials
night.
on Tuesday. Corned beef and cabbage.
Well, yeah, and then Magilla, the place down the street, well, they have,
She didn't. She just knew the outsides. And,
So they're definitely on our list for next year.
well, I think they're going to be getting something from my wife, I know that. But she was so happy. Thank you. I didn't see the card in the beginning. I finally found the card. Thank you for the card. And Tony now, we're getting to get to Tony, Patrick?
Yes.
Founding member of the Facebook forum. Jimmy, is that your status, or do you have another status?
No.
You're an administrator. Does it show you as an administrator when you're
I think
updating?
he's, yeah, he's
Yeah.
Does it, Patrick?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a big deal.
Anyway.
It's another non-paying job out of this place. You know? When
Anyhow,
I try to unionize all of us, well, you're gonna be in trouble. Okay.
well, administrator, that's really, it's another one of those $5 words. We learned that last week, Jimmy. Not $3 word, $5 word.
$5 because we're in Boston.
Right. Client wants me to replace a T cushion. I have the correct depth, but it is about 4 inches too short. Have any of you glued a seat cushion before? How does it hold up? It would be towards the back where it was placed together. I got a story for you, Tony, and I know I answered this question. My answer to the question was, yes, it's okay, and one of the keys is the glue that you're using, right? I guess I could show this, Patrick. It's a 3M product, I believe. Yeah, 3M Super 77, you guys. That's the best. Use that. And the key to that, though, is if you're going to be gluing foam together, and I'm a big believer in recycling it. Once you glue a piece of foam, it's one piece. It really is. It really holds. But what holds it even better is if you put bonded Dacron, half-inch bonded Dacron over that, and glue that down. Glue that down over there so that you really get it. Now I'm going to tell you a story. I've been around long enough.
What was that you used again?
The 77, Super 77. Have you been paying attention? Are you snoozing over there, Jimmy?
No, I'm
Jimmy, make a note.
Actually, you know what?
Make a note, Patrick. No heavy gravy or turkey before the class starts.
I'm looking at Denise Packard. She's doing a
She's
sofa.
she's actually right on there now.
Yes, I'm
Jimmy.
impressed with her work.
Well, I have all
She
those.
has a mechanic. She's using a mechanic's creeper to do her
Wow.
work.
This is exciting. This is what you call exciting television right here.
Jimmy, we have 3 of her submissions coming up.
So I
next.
wanted to get a
Oh, great.
I wanted to tell a story about gluing
Patrick and
foam.
I talked to him.
Yeah, you can, but you know. Remember what I said? If he insults me, you mute him, right, Patrick?
Of course not. We gotta
That could be a whole show.
So I want to tell a story about gluing foam. So I've been around long enough to see the economy tank and then get better and tank again, and I don't know, ups and downs, right? Remember when I first started in this business in the 70s, I was working in a meat department, and I was studying to be an apprentice meat cutter, if you want to call it that. But there was a meat shortage, and we all got laid off. Do you remember this meat shortage that we had in the 70s?
Yeah.
And the economy tanked. It tanked. It was bad.
Yeah,
And I got this job in an upholstery shop. I was lucky to get a job at all. It was really tough around here. I don't know about you guys, but you remember this. Patrick, he was born like 2 decades later than what I'm talking about, or more.
Thank God.
But these were tough times. So the guy that owned the shop, my mentor, you should have seen what he would use to glue together. You wouldn't believe it. He would have scraps, little scraps. He didn't throw anything away. He did.
Well, obviously he
So let me
knew.
show you. I got a scrap over here. This has not been set up. This is not a prop, you guys. This just happens to be a piece of foam that I have here. Now, will I take this and cut this at 24 inches and 24 inches and 24 inches and then glue it all together? No, I don't think I will. Because the economy isn't that bad, right? But maybe I should, because really, once you glue this together,
You're
right?
saving already.
Yeah, it becomes a one piece. I mean, the glue is that good. So you shouldn't be afraid to do it.
But if
We
you-
shouldn't be afraid to save money. And now what will happen with these pieces, though, normally, is my supply will take these. Once in a while, I'll give him a whole bag of these, and he'll shred these up and use them for back cushions.
Oh, okay.
So they never get, the new foam never gets wasted, never gets thrown away.
Thank God, yeah.
Put that over there, Jimmy. Thank you. Tony, did you ever think that, we would go off like that? That's good wandering. That's subject-related wandering, right, Jimmy? It's these
Okay.
other, Jimmy's getting bored now. So now let's go to Denise. Is Denise new to the forum, Patrick?
No, she's been posting for a while.
Oh, good, Denise, thank
a lot
you.
of good updates.
And again-
I missed Jimmy said there was a recent one that I might have to get right now, so I'll check that out.
Okay, let's go to Denise. Our administrator is hard at work, our producer is hard at work, and our camera person, Michaela, is hard at work. So we're all hard at work here, and we're really on the ball, aren't we, Jimmy?
On the ball. Good.
Remember,
Good.
there he goes again. I told you, no heavy gravy, no turkey, and no wine before the class.
Oh, God. All right.
No wine.
Yeah, well, you know what, maybe if you gave me a budget for my lunches.
These divas want all their, this is what he wants before the class starts. He wants a side of turkey, right, Patrick?
Nice turkey dinner always works for me. I'm cheap and easy. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
You know, Jimmy complained. We got him a trailer once, and he
And
did
still, no
nothing.
heat, no tires, and no door.
Meanwhile, Denise's thing's been up there for like an hour.
I'm sorry, Denise. I really am. I apologize, all right?
You owe her a big apology.
But, you know, maybe these jokes aren't
She's like,
funny.
she sees her name there, and she's like, just read it.
Is Denise up there? Is
Yeah,
Denise
she's up there now.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I mean,
I
is
don't
she-
think, I'm not sure if she's in the chat. She
Uh,
is.
let me know if somebody's actually waiting like that. You make me feel
I was
bad.
just kidding.
I have my imagery of that trailer. It was on cinder blocks. We had it in the back. It was homemade. Sorry. It was in the back, and it was on cinder blocks. It was missing a couple of tires, and I thought it had a door, Jimmy. Come on, it didn't have a door.
Well, like a make-believe door, makeshift, you know, like those folding doors.
And I didn't
Those are-
forget the gold star. It had a gold star on the
Yeah,
door.
on the door, yeah, oh, yeah, I think it was like one of those ones from the Staples office
Yeah,
supply.
of course.
Yeah.
So next step, maybe if we get more.
Maybe in next year's budget.
Yeah, we'll get wouldn't that be something that you could have your own very nice plush with your blue
And just
velvet
think-
and your
just
gold
think
trim?
when I wake up on a Saturday morning, you're the first person I'm gonna see. Oh, God.
Oh, anyway.
Let's get to Denise's question.
I think I should be out front there. I gotta be with a gavel.
I think you're gonna need one of those hooks like in the Gong Show.
Yeah, actually,
All right, so Denise says, ties and springs are in excellent shape, but muslin and webbing are slightly torn. Should I re-web and retie, or is there another option? So I kind of let this, I was liking some of the answers, and I think Jimmy answered, or opinions about what Denise should have done and all. And I kind of let it go a little bit, and then I piped in a little bit. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is these springs, these are back springs, they're in excellent shape. And I know that she had a little wear on the back. This constitutes a repair rather than a restoration if you don't want to learn how to do back springs, which are just like seat springs, only the gauge is a little thinner, and you don't need or want to use jute twine on it, the heavy twine. You want to go to the tufting twine. Why? Because the tufting twine doesn't make big knots, and the back springs are usually very, very gentle. You don't see them a lot. The French did it a lot, and the French always minimize the spring tying on the back so as to not to interfere with everything else that goes on it, because it's a soft. So if it's a soft back, you might be able to feel those ruby twines
yeah,
through
you
it.
don't want to do. Well, how does that work on the back of the? Because I've never done it, so I would love to see how it's done.
I have a video. Patrick, didn't we have a video of those back springs? We did that once, didn't we?
I'm pretty sure we did.
On one of our finds or something, one of our redos or treasures of upholstery.
Treasures,
Yeah. So check that out.
Okay, so
I don't dwell too much on back springs.
I haven't. I mean, except for what I've seen, the last chair that I did when we had the back springs.
And keep in mind, here's the thing about back springs too.
Okay.
Back springs were developed because they were developed in a time when there weren't any foam options.
Right.
So a piece of 2-inch foam would syndicate that. That's not the word, syndicate. You guys know what I mean. Duplicate the feel of a back spring just as easily as back springs did before foam came out. Does that make any sense at all?
Mm-hmm.
So what they were doing, the French were great at this. The French, wow, French upholstery is like the ultimate. It's like they're cooking, Jimmy. It's really delicate.
Spot on.
Real spot on. They came out with those back springs, the low gauge back springs with they used to use a twine that looked like a kite string. There was a cotton twine. It wasn't as weak as kite string. They didn't have nylon, but we have nylon. That's the replacement if she wants to go ahead, and I think she did. So we're going to go to the next picture, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Finally,
She has a few
finally.
submissions.
is there any new questions before we get to this or comments?
Nope, we're good. We're caught up.
So Denise, in her follow-up, she actually went ahead, and I think she took our advice. Since springs were only twisted through muslin backing, I was able to slip webbing underneath. Genius. Hoping this is what Kevin meant by using tufting twine. Yes, it is. Looks beautiful. And you know what I like best about Denise's? I like that she problem solved effectively, Jimmy. Because we talk about, if you go to the U.S. government's description, they have a job description for everything. Did you know that?
Yes.
And officially, I mean. And in the official, I can't remember exactly what they say about upholsterers, but I'll never forget what I read. I think it's like a paragraph or two, depending on the job, what they're describing. But there was one part when they said, must be able to problem solve. That's one of the major things about being an upholsterer, right, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
Must be able to problem solve. And that's what Denise did there. She problem solved. I love to see that. So thank you, Denise. That's a good addition. That's why I like about the forum. We're getting these beautiful pictures too of people working in action, which is the next one, right, Patrick? Do you have that up yet? And look what she's got. Now she didn't comment about what she's using. She's using a bench. It looks like one of those mechanics use, Jimmy.
Yeah, mechanics.
Underneath the sofa.
I
Now,
had the same one.
what?
You
I
don't
had the
have
same one.
You have the same
Yeah.
one? So,
You know what? I have a tip for that. I actually have a tip.
Patrick has a tip, you
Yes.
guys. This is a first, so the drum
Yeah.
roll.
I know. I realize a skateboard does a lot better than one of those. So you have a,
Ooh.
you have a skateboard
Well,
laying around.
He's
How
right
about
on
an
that.
upholstered skateboard would be even better.
Right, but Denise is going for comfort.
Right. But the wheels, Jimmy.
Because of the width,
The
You guys-
wheels on those things
You
get
gotta,
caught.
I mean, there is some cushion to this. So I mean, honestly, I would have that. That's like a big asset right there.
You know what the problem with that is, though, Jimmy? In a shop, it's perfect. If you're outside the driveway, it gets caught on the asphalt. It doesn't go over the asphalt very
Oh,
well.
but she's in a finished floor.
Yeah, she's
garage,
fine, though.
so
She's good.
to go.
Yeah,
And that does have casters on it or no?
Yeah, it has little wheels.
Wow.
If it's a Craftsman,
Yeah, and actually, I think she said, who was it that said they wanted a clinch it for Christmas or Mother's Day? or
Alls I
something.
want for Christmas is my clinch it. No, never mind.
That's like the bomb tool, I think.
Are you gonna, is your shopping cart, does it include that
It
clinch
includes
it?
everything.
Jimmy, I see your cart was overflowing. There was a clinch it sticking out, there was springs sticking out, and
No
we were,
springs. No, I had foam. I had.
it was all like in the cart. The cart was so full, it looked like it was gonna
You
fall
know what I
over.
didn't realize?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. Here I am, like, okay, this many yards. I want 2 of this.
By the way, that card can be seen as your purchase on BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com. Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry, you guys. You know, I'm just kidding you.
I guess when I was breathing for a second, you took the chance. It was about $1,100 worth of wine.
I know. Patrick was watching the card. It goes, you know, it's going down a little bit, and then you see the stuff going in, and then it goes a little further, more stuff going in, and then more
Well, yeah,
stuff, and then over here it's like $1,100, and then it just stops. And it's been like that. How long, Patrick?
I'd say months.
Months.
Couple of months.
It hasn't moved.
Yeah. I was so disappointed looking at it.
So
One day, hoping that it's going to just
One,
go through.
one day, all it needs is a little push. All it needs is a little push. And over the finish line.
So would I get like delivery to my place? And
We would hand deliver that. We would.
you would?
We would
I might
wrap it all up.
Well, you know what? If you guys are coming, chicken pot pie. You know who's ready for that?
Wow, I love it. Are you gonna leave one piece for us? Are you gonna?
Nothing. Leave,
One-
leave a little. You know, what's that? 3 ounces, 4 ounces, maybe.
Getting back to Denise. Forget about your chicken pot pie and your cart that doesn't go anywhere. Oh man, so never mind. So Denise says another tough project. We're just kidding you, Jimmy. Don't worry about it. You know, but a regulator maybe. One regulator. Anyhow, another tough project. A beautiful antique sofa. After tying the seat springs and now onto the back springs. Wishing I had asked Santa for clinch it. Santa.
How did I know that?
Do we have the clinchets available on BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com, Patrick?
Absolutely.
Of course we do. And do we have the most important thing, are the clinchets themselves?
Gabrielle has a clinchet comment on here.
Oh, Gabrielle, yes, what is it?
I discovered I had a clinchet from watching these videos. I had bought an upholstery shop that closed. It saved me a lot of time. So maybe she found it in the shop.
That's like finding treasure.
That is the ultimate, I think, of everything. And
She
next to
did
the
say.
staple gun, clinch it.
Did she say that she found the
I
clinchets
think
too?
we have to start hanging out with her.
And for all those who don't know what a clinchet is.
Show them how, well,
No.
lesson 101, Mr. K.
I told there's a little humor. This is a clinchet. And the valuable part, Patrick, we have the clinchet themselves available. Those are expensive too, I hate to tell you. But they come so many. I think there are 10, I don't want to quote this because I'm not positive. I want to say 10,000 clinchets. You know, there are 10,000 staples in every box that you get.
Oh, okay.
I'm just, maybe that's why I'm thinking 10,000 clinchets. But they don't come any smaller than that, Jimmy. You have to buy the whole box.
One size for all that.
So I tell people if they're upholstering and they need a clinchet, you know, your neighborhood grouchy upholsterer, usually they're grouchy. I don't know why.
Actually,
I try not to be. But
you're a peach. Your wife told me to tell you that.
But you can get around grouchy, right? So the way to get around grouchy, if you want to borrow a man's tool, right? You go in and maybe with a cup of coffee, Jimmy.
Lodge.
And you lodge, or you go in
And
there.
a homemade cinnamon roll.
Homemade cinnamon, maybe an apple, maybe a whole apple pie, not the slice you bring around, the whole pie.
Look at the eighth of a pie is good enough for 3 people. I told you that before.
You know, people want to see a whole pie, not a pie that's been eaten.
Look at I'm offering chicken pot pie for you guys, and you guys give me crap.
I believe you. I think you are.
I could make one right.
You're sincere.
You guys come over, we're good.
But you know, you go in, you need the clinchet, you develop, this is a good idea actually, you guys, if you're learning the trade, no matter where you are, try to get to know, even if you could call them up or watch this show, or you watch me or ask me questions, fine, that's what this is about. But for the physical stuff, if you're over in East, you know, Idaho or whatever, and there's a local upholsterer, you know,
we'll get that first flight out.
Develop a relationship with them. Maybe he'll teach you some things. Maybe he'll teach a class. Maybe he'll teach a private class. You know, maybe if you can get around the grouch.
I think we should take this show on the road. I've always said that.
Hey, you know, Patrick, we were talking about this today, weren't we? Someday, if this whole thing winds down,
I love it.
and our lives wind down a little bit, we'd love to take this show on the road. Jimmy,
Sure.
would you come and
Absolutely.
maybe by that time your
Maybe
trailer.
the trailer will be ready.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'm saying
Or we can
that.
sleep standing up.
I didn't know it was going to be actually functional. That was just going to be a rusted thing. It's just, once you park it, it stays parked.
Well,
It's actually going to be able to roll in the street.
we could hook it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that's that. Let's go on to the next thing, which is, before we get to Jimmy, we knew we were going to have a longer show today, because I wanted to talk, I'm really excited about, first of all, I'm not trying to pitch this again, and I know you guys have seen this before. The kit is available online. It's a complete kit. It has the frame. It has all the supplies that you need. It's on BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com, and it has the book that goes along with it. And I think that if you guys, being optimistic, the people who have taken the class, who I see on the Broadway Upholstery forum, they're really good. And I think whether they know it or not, they're ready to teach. I really believe that.
Okay.
And I think that this kit, even if they purchase the kit themselves to learn how to teach the methods that I teach, which are using pin tags mostly and things like that, in the kit are teaching techniques, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So people can do that, or not get the kit, and just get your own supplies and offer a class where people bring their own projects in, and you're the master upholsterer. You're teaching them how to upholster. And I have a demonstration or an example of the type of people that might come, or the type of furniture that they're going to bring, and give you a couple of tips on if you're going to be teaching, once this breaks. I want to see, I don't know who's going to be the breakout person on the Broadway Upholstery forum, I want to see somebody. We've been pitching this for a long time, Patrick.
Breakout
Star
star.
and teacher. I want to see
I-
one of them take the plunge, and they don't have to buy the kit. They can do this on their own. I know they can. The kit would give you tips, certainly.
We have 2 people, I think, Denise and Cameron.
Oh, at least 2 people. So I wanted to set up an example. So say you get 6 of your friends. You have a big enough space. I would say, Jimmy, to have 6 people. We have 550 square feet in this shop, and we had 12 people in here. 500, that was a little tight. I think that if you had about 400 square feet, how much is a double garage, an average double garage? What would you say?
How much is 2 of this?
It's about this. It's about 400 square feet, right?
Yeah. Well,
So if they have their double garage, they have 6 of their friends. 6 of their friends have a project. You don't want to do anything more than a chair and a half. No love seats or sofas. That's too big. It takes up 2 places, right? You don't, and you don't want to overwhelm people with the amount of work that they have, right? Right. So you have 6 of your friends and say, yeah, Sally says, I have 6 slip seats, right? John says he's got a wing chair that he wants upholstered. Jimmy, he says he's got a small side chair. And Teresa has a bench, and Peter has a club chair. So you say, okay, we're going to start our classes. You structure the classes in 6 at a time, 3 hours each class, right? What's 6 times 3? That's 18 hours, right? So this is the structure of the class. This is the different types of projects that you could have. And by the way, very important, only have reupholstery. Do not have restoration. You can tell people about, if they want to do a restoration, that it's going to take 3 or 4 semesters at least.
Right.
Jimmy, right?
Absolutely.
So I would advise you, if you're going to start this, I want to see a breakout here. I want to see somebody make a commitment to me and say, you know what? I called 6 of my friends up. I said, forget about we're going to be hopeful the pandemic's going to be gone. So I want to see a summer class set up. I want to see 1 person sign up 6 people in their garage or in a place or retail spot, whatever it is, and I want to see it because I know that they can do it and they're going to have so much fun doing it. And it's simple. I'm going to explain the rest of it here. Okay, so Sally has 6. So the first night, Sally comes in with the 6 slip seats, and they're just going to be upholstered. So she needs to strip them down the first class, and then she's going to finish. She's going to finish her. So you're going to tell Sally, in a 6-week class that first night, because that first night's going to be consulting. In a 6-week class, she's going to be done with her 6 seats. She's going to be happy because in the Boston area, we charge about $100 a piece, so that's $600. Look at that. And that you only charged Sally maybe $250, right, to $300. That's the price of the instruction that you're going to provide. Sally's going to be happy because she's going to save half of that, right? Right? I mean, it's no kidding, you guys. Okay, so let's go on to the next student. By the way, the first class is the consulting. You're consulting how many yards of fabric. You're going to be an expert in that because you've watched me, right? She has 6 slip seats. Jimmy, guess how many yards of fabric she's going to need?
What's that again, sorry?
6 slip seats. How many yards do you think she's going to need? This is the first class. You have to go over all this and also the supplies people are going to need. So the fabric and supplies, the first class, consult class, right? And you'll get some things done too. So what do you think about that?
How many yards total?
Yeah, this is unfair for you, but just take a guess.
36.
36 yards?
I don't know. What do we...
Gee, I want you to be my fabric salesman.
What do we...
3 yards is minimum. 3 yards for 6 slip seats. Okay, this is what you're going to have to do the first class.
3 yards per...
3 yards for all 6. You need about a half yard per for a slip seat. I don't think you knew what I was talking about. It's the dining room. Dining room chair seats. That's all. They're very simple.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But so she gets the 3 yards. She's gonna need. You're gonna have supplies on hand. She probably only needs a little cotton, and you guys. It's mostly instruction for her. She's gonna be done. And that has a $600 value. Okay, let's go on to John. John has a wing back. You're going to be very honest with John. You're going to say to John, you know what, John? Kevin, you've seen Kevin on the question and answer. He's a professional upholsterer, been doing it for over 40 years. It's going to take Kevin 15 to 20 hours, start to finish on a wing chair. Kevin, right? Me, right? Fast. I'm fast too, by the way. So, if I have a slow week, it's 20 hours. So really, that's super fast. I think the average, in all fairness, for a professional upholsterer, and I'm not, let's see, you guys know the way I talk, right? How fast I could be, right? So I think the average is 25. Okay, 25 hours. So you're going to say this to John. John, you might have even had the conversation with him before he came to the class, before he paid you that much money, $250, let's say, or $300. And you're going to say, John, this is a reupholstery, it's not a restoration. You're going to say, John, you know, this is an 18-hour class, it takes a professional 25, so expect 3 classes. So now John starts to realize that that's going to cost him $750. Now this is the time when you say, you know, what price is an education really? This is where having a fun class comes in. When the cost, most people, I have to be honest, take the class because they think they've got to save money, but I think once they're in the class, especially with the students that I know I have, if one of them takes this, and runs with it, I think they're going to have a fun time. Jimmy actually talked about how fun it is to have these classes. So people do pay for just to have fun, and I think that's what because a wing chair is about $9.75 for me. They still save a little money, Jimmy, even though they're taking 3 classes, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with John the first night. You want to ask John, he's going to want to know how many yards of fabric. What do you think on a wing chair, Jimmy? Do you got any guess on typical wing chair? 7, 8. I'd say 8. I'd say 8 just it covers more wing chairs that way. And John's going to be at the same point of stripping his furniture the first night and second night. That's why I have strip here. So he's going to go 2 deep in with the stripping, and then from there cutting fabric and then upholstering, and he's going to be in 3 semesters. But for all you guys who are trying to start a business and try to earn a little bit of a living, do you see why John might be a good customer? He's going to be taking 3 classes, and I guarantee you, Jimmy can vouch for this. People used to love these classes so much to take them over and over and over again, like Jimmy did, and we can't get rid of them. Is there anybody that, by the way, if there's an adoption agency that wants a guy 60 years old, he's about 200 pounds, he's glasses, his sights are failing a little bit, but contact us here at Upholstery on Broadway.
Match.com too, thanks.
So now we go to Jim. Now we go to Jimmy, not this Jimmy, but another Jimmy. He has a side chair. Now we'll say to Jimmy, you're going to need 3 yards, Jimmy. And guess what, Jimmy? And we don't care what their ability is, by the way. Did I mention that? Mm-hmm. You're the teacher. I'm going to get to this in a minute. You're the teacher. You're going to be finishing up. You're going to be helping these people. You're not going to just stand there and watch them. You know, this is different, you guys. It's not like the online classes. Okay, I'm going to get to that in a minute. So you're going to say to Jim, 3 yards, and the upholstery supplies, maybe $25. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that. You can charge a little bit for the supplies. And you're going to say to Jim, you're going to finish. Jim, and then you can get into pricing. He's going to pay $250, but for a side chair, it's about $350, $400 for us professionals, right? So he saves money. He's happy. He's going to take, and guarantee you, if you keep Jimmy happy, he comes back. He comes back for the next semester. Okay, now we're on to Teresa. She's got the bench. She's just got a simple bench that has, let's say it's at the end of a bed, and it's just the seat in the back. Same thing with Jimmy. She's going to be finished, and that's about the same price, right? $400, $250 to $400 that we would charge. They're going to be charged $250. They're happy. Peter has a club chair. Okay, Peter, you're in for it. You might even go 3 deep into the stripping part of it. So you're going to say to Peter, again, 3 semesters, right? Peter's going to end up spending he's going to end up spending another $750 for the instruction, but he's going to be happy because he's going to be done. What do you think? Fabric on a let's say a club chair that has a skirt, Jimmy. What do you think?
How many yards?
Yeah, how many yards?
About 9.
Perfect, 9 yards. Peter's going to be very happy. Now, how do you guys teach the upholstery class? You guys that have seen me upholstering, you are not going to have 6 guns going at the same time. You're not going to have 6 compressors hooked up or 2 guns coming out of 3 compressors. You're not going to do that. You're going to be the one, no matter what the person that comes to you, what their level of skill is. Now some people do use the gun who I trust in the class. They've done that before. We've taken the class over and over again. That's fine. But what the teacher has the gun most of the time. Okay, and you guys are going to just pin tack, and pin tack. That's what keeps the class, the fluid motion of the class going. Each person has their own station when you get to the pin tacking. The first couple of classes are fun because it's just stripping furniture.
Yeah.
And you're going to show people how to strip furniture using the different tools, giving tips on how to do that, no matter if they're beginners or not. And then after the second class, it starts to get a little serious because they're starting to cut their fabric. And then the third, what we see is the tempo of the class, right, Jimmy? Towards the end, it gets a little intense, and people want to finish, and they don't want to hear the stories of coconut fiber anymore. They want to just finish this.
Those are gone by the first.
So that's when you kick up. As a teacher, you kick up. You get a little bit more serious too with people, right?
Yes.
And then they're pin tacking, and then you have 6 people could be pin tack. And now it's all different stages, you guys. So as a teacher, you're going to be really busy. And you're going to have to adjust to learning styles and everything else. You'll do it. You'll learn how to do that. That's a talent too, learning different styles of you as a good teacher, you have to know learning styles, so how people learn. That could be challenging, but could be fun too doing that. And as adults, these are adults too, so you don't have to, worry about, hurting failings or anything like that. You just have to really kind of go with the flow, right? So people are pin tacking, and then you come and say, okay, you look at it, you're given instructions on how to pin tack and how to stretch fabric. They might have had to do some stretching back and forth. That's your teaching too. And then they're ready. The pin tacking, that's it, and you like it. That's the key to teaching you guys, is the pin tacking, because the pin tacking is you're not committed. You've seen the other videos. It's not a committed, and then you're doing each section at a time. So you get it all pin tacked, they get it all stretched. You've given the instruction, and then great, the magic moment. You come over with the gun, and you go in between the pin tacks all the way around. Let's say it's a slip seat. Let's say it's Sally. She's got one slip seat all pin tacked, and it looks great. You've taught her how to do the pleats, which, by the way, that's why I recommend this, because it has all the pleat work in here. It shows you how to do the pleat work. It breaks it down. So it would be great if you could read that book or even do the kit before you teach the class so that you get all that down. So Sally's got it all pin tacked. She's got, like, every 2 inches she's got a pin tack. Looks great. There's no pull marks. You come with your 3-inch staples and your staple gun, all 4 sides. You say, Sally, take the pin tacks out, trim the fabric out, and you're done with that. That's what teaching, a 101 teaching upholstery is all about. Jimmy, now, do you have any questions?
No. The only thing is you want to make sure that people are aware of the time.
Which we did. We went over that.
Yeah, and especially make sure that they're actually moving along. You don't want to see somebody stuck with stripping down a chair or anything like that by the second class. Everything should be.
So what I recommend, that's a good point. What I recommend is don't overload your roster.
Right.
Yeah. I said I teach 12 people.
Right.
But I would have people say, well, it was a little, I didn't feel as though he gave me enough attention. You're always going to have that. But if you narrow down the roster a little bit, especially if you're just starting out teaching, you definitely might want to do 4. You might want to start with 4. But 6 might be the max if you're just starting to be a teacher. Yeah. But then you can start extending that. You're going to start getting repeat people, and they're easy because they know how to do a lot of the stuff.
Yes.
Right? So the challenge is having 6 beginners in the beginning, but then as you go along, and you guys could do this 2 or 3 nights a week. You could do it. We were doing mothers' hours here. We were starting to get people who were mothers who would take the class just for some entertainment, for fun.
Yeah.
We were teaching morning classes, afternoon classes, and night classes, and weekend classes. And the demand was so much, Jimmy, I couldn't keep up with it.
I know.
So really, if you guys are looking for other sources of income, and I really want somebody to really do this. I want to see how they do. I want to hear about it. If you're looking for other sources of income, if you're looking for more work, then this is the way to do it. This is it. Do we have another question at all? So people are just fascinated with this. I hope this was helpful for people. I hope this was worth the time, Jimmy.
Well, it would be fun to get, you talk about getting classes back, and it's fun because I never heard of anybody ever having a bad time here. And then me, I was here for the nights.
Yeah.
And for the mornings and weekends, all because of my hours at my job. So, it was fun, and I enjoyed all the classes that I ever had. It was
I'm
great.
glad.
I look forward to it. It was like,
that's good feedback. And I'm doing this for no other reason that I here's another reason why I'm doing this, you guys. I want to put this aside for now. I just want to talk frankly about
Sorry guys with the error, I don't know what happened. We dropped out there for a second.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
How long, Pat?
I don't know if it was the video, I think the chat, something happened with the chat or something, but we're good now.
So, what I want to do is talk about how for 4 years I taught upholstery as a therapy, and also in that program, that was a work adjustment program that I worked in, and it was for adults 18 and over. It was for people, and sometimes the age didn't matter, for people who never worked, who never had a job. And you know that a workplace can be a very tough place for people,
Yes.
right? And so when you get to a certain age and you've never been in a workplace, it's hard to break into the workplace. So a lot of what we were doing at this job training was job training. We were offering a commensurate wage for people to do upholstery. That was my department. We had a refinishing department too. But the whole idea was to get people to think about job, not to do the upholstery. That wasn't the idea. I wasn't making upholsterers. That's not what we were doing. Sometimes that would be unrealistic for somebody that was 50 and looking for opportunities, but needed a little respite, from let's face it, workplaces can be toxic. I've worked in toxic workplaces that you wouldn't believe. And my Irish stubbornness came through. I just wanted to
Wasn't that meat
keep
market
working.
job?
Well, yeah, it was. We could talk about that. I don't want to talk about it, but it was tough. It was tough. And so what we were doing, we were introducing people to a workplace. I mean, I was their boss, and I was showing them. The reason I'm mentioning this right now is because how many people are unemployed right now?
Oh, God.
How many people have never found work? How many I worry about young people like out of high school and they're in that age group, early 20s and haven't worked. If you're a mom or a dad out there and you're home, everybody's home, and you've got an adult living at home and you want to give them something tangible, this is it. This kit is it. And I would like to see, or just not even the kit, the YouTube station, and you can actually go down to your local hardware store. I know they're not the best tools. I'm not trying to push this in this way. You go down the hardware store, Jimmy, and get all the tools you need to set yourself up to work on upholstery using the YouTube video, and it's cheap. What would be the harm in getting a kid set up, even a neighborhood kid, whatever, in your garage, your own kid, set them up, say, I got a side chair, I want you to look at the videos, I want you to look at this guy, maybe buy an online class if you want, don't have to, but I want you to get it set up. Set yourself up in a little shop, this person in a little shop. We have heard from people who said that they've done this and they've improved their income and they're very grateful for that. But I'd like to see somebody really get this. I don't think it's not going to be a huge commitment. And you got a kid at home and he does a good job on your side chair or a neighbor's side chair, you're going to pay him. And I'll tell you something, I've seen miracles happen with that first paycheck. Do you remember your first paycheck, your first pay stub, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember getting my Social Security number at 13, and I remembered my first paycheck. You know what my first job was? My first job was
We
cleaning.
had to dim the lights and put the hum.
Think about the worst job in the world. You know that guy that goes around finding the worst jobs? I could show him the worst job. The worst job in the world for me at that time. I had a job in a salon. My job was to take the hair out of the drains in the salon, right? But when I was through a community program at that time, I was 13. But when I got that check, it made everything feel better.
A little better.
A little better.
And you realize I'm worth more.
But this is clean. It's good. Jimmy, you can speak of that. It's a good, clean job, really, and the occasional
learning.
cut.
I think honestly, what my attitude is, but you're learning something. It may not relate to a lot of things in your world,
right?
But I think honestly, you were learning a trade.
Mm-hmm.
You were learning to have a little bit of fun with yourself. You're
Yeah.
definitely teaching yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say I don't have the patience for that, but I say, obviously, I must have a lot.
You have a lot of patience, and you're not hard on yourself. So I will say that, but. I'm going to have you come up now, Jim. I'm going to move this. Enough of this, right? If you guys have any questions next week about what I was talking about, or if you want to learn a little bit more about teaching and you want to ask those questions, feel free. Right now, I'm going to get Jimmy to put his piece up. We did this last week. We had a lot of positive feedback on this segment, right, Patrick, with
Yeah.
Jimmy? So Jimmy, do you want to bring that up? Jimmy, I have to give you an applause because he's finished pretty much almost all of the restoration has been done. And let's just show people what you were doing. So what Jimmy did today, why don't you explain what you were doing, Jimmy?
Well, we used the horsehair, not horsehair,
Rubberized.
rubberized horsehair, and we sewn it in the back on the perimeter and in the front here. And then
What
we
type of stitch did we use on that?
back stitching,
Blanket stitch.
blanket
A
stitching.
back stitch you used here.
Yes. And what we had to do, and Kevin will explain it in a minute, we had to split the front piece here, and what I did was I had sewn it on the front, as you can tell, and also on the back from the burlap to the rubberized horsehair.
So the reason, Jimmy asked the question today. So, learning, when I was learning in these jobs, it wasn't exactly done with a lot of kindness. The second time you ask a question, you were called some names. The third time you asked, you were called more names. But that's how repetitiveness is how you learn.
Well, practice and theory.
Some people, right? Yeah. Some people learn the first time, and those are people with marvelous brains, right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
most of us need that repetitive stuff, right? So Jimmy asked the question again, which is fine. Why we separate here? And I answered in a way. I told him that the seat is higher than the deck in order for the cushion to pitch back at about a 6 to 10 degree back, so that every time you sit, you get out of it, it doesn't come out.
Your cushion doesn't come with you.
So this is exactly what manufacturers have. I want to be kind, and I want to say that they've forgotten the tradition of upholstery.
Okay.
Because you see it flat at one piece.
Right.
And then they say, oh, we got a problem. The customer's complaining. Because the cushions are coming out. We're going to have to do something. Velcro and clips. Velcro and clips. Please get the Velcro and clips.
Yeah, so now they develop
That's what they do. They
strap in
clip
the back.
everything out, and they forget. All they needed to do was build out the seat higher than the deck. Sounds easier, right, than I'm saying.
Well, yes. This was a little bit of work, but you know what? You're learning the stitching, you're learning the techniques, and that's what really matters.
So we have a regulator stuck in Jimmy's measurements so he doesn't lose them next time. So why don't you talk a little bit about what you did with the measuring today, too?
The measuring always has been a little bit of a stickler for me. I kind of be a little bit off, but I will need to be more exact. And of course, we measured from the width of the seat. We also measured the deck, the inside arms, in and out, the back in and out.
Hold on, Jimmy. I think we might have a question or comment. Is there a question or comment, you guys?
No, there's not. Lauren's joining in. Hello, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. I thought there might have been something funny.
Probably a question for me, but that's okay.
I think you get a lot of fan mail. I told you.
Were the bags of mail up front?
It looked like the North Pole here, Jimmy, the other day. Bags of mail. Make good firewood.
Probably a lot of fan mail. Birthday's coming up in April, everybody. So
You know how many I've gotten? I know exactly the exact number. No, one. I got one from my friend in Ireland, John.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I got one. Compared to yours, it's like crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So again, we measured it all out. Next week we might be measuring.
Well, what did I do? I checked your measurements and I was going over your why you need more or less here and there. And one of the things that came up is people say, well, why don't you just oversize all your measurements? You're guaranteed to run out of fabric doing that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
right?
Because you have the inside of the sofa here, and also the back. So people have to remember that. As much as you say, oh, I'm going to give it 4 to 5 inches, well, that's maybe running out, and you may have shorted yourself in the end. And God forbid.
And the other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's important. Never cut. This is a bad habit that I notice beginners do. They cut and upholster, cut and upholster, cut and upholster. That's another way you run out of fabric really fast. So the way we do it, Jim, right?
Yep.
Is that we have it all written on paper, and we have the width and we have the up and down measurements,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we go over to our cutting table, the only thing we don't have is the cushion, right?
Right.
Don't do the cushion yet. We're just doing
That's
the
the
ball.
last.
So when you're next week is going to be an exciting week because
Okay.
you're going to be cutting fabric. I also have to say, you guys, for all those who are going to teach upholstery, that happens to be the most anxiety filled. We got a really great comment from a fellow that's been in the movie industry for 35 years.
Okay.
And he knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was watching a video on how to cut around posts, and he made some interesting comments about. He almost made it sound like one of those scary movies that you see, Friday the 13th, and
Oh,
all
God,
those movies. Like, and I've heard people say that to me, that they're really nervous. I actually one time had a student that were actually. I said, "What's the matter?" "I'm nervous." You're not going to cut it like that, right?
Well, yeah, because you know what it is. If you cut the wrong, people say, "Oh, they look at it as a simple cut,"
Right.
but yet, if you don't know the technique, or you say overthink the technique, now all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
$500 yard fabric, Jimmy.
oh, don't even
Imagine
talk to.
that.
I'm not even
Imagine
touching that.
You don't think about it. You just think,
No.
oh, it's just, you think of it as it's a Herculon or something, you know.
Yes.
Hercules. But you know, if you run out of it, you're in trouble, right? If you
Yes.
make a mistake.
So tell them the proper technique again.
Well, we have. It depends on where it is. Depends on the cut. Oh, but getting back to
Yes.
this. So Jimmy finished out your measurement. I checked them, and I have to say that all of your outside measurements were correct. Do you have any idea why?
No, not really. I mean, I would have preferred all of it to be exact.
But in all fairness, I didn't tell you. So what I did, one of the teaching methods I have is to not, I don't want to throw everything at you at once, right? So very few people I could go through the whole thing and then they measure and they're right. I don't think I've had one person do that. It's a process. So
Okay.
the process I gave Jimmy was, I made these lines and I labeled everything and I told him what I wanted to do. And what I was looking for is to make sure the directions were right, and they were. So what I didn't tell Jimmy was that you have to add a little bit more for padding here and there and everywhere.
Okay.
I didn't want to give him everything at once because I knew that would be overwhelming. So I came and I checked, and then I told him. That was just the teaching method, right? Then
Okay.
I told him what he needed, and then he understood. So next time when you come in, Jimmy, you're going to be all ready to cut this,
Okay.
right?
Now, is that true though? When you talked about the shape of the foam,
Yeah.
with regard to other pieces of furniture, or is that
Yeah, for all seats that have
Okay.
a
Okay,
loose,
so you wanted-
loose cushion. Yeah.
okay? And
it's
you
the
went,
same.
how high did you go up on that?
I did about an inch and a
Okay.
half.
And that's
maybe.
about right for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that you need a little bit of experience for that. But like I said before, restorations are a lot harder than
Oh.
reupholstery. I mean, if this was reupholstered, it would all be there for you.
Would be
You would
done.
have jumped. You would have jumped to this step like you're already 10 weeks in, Jimmy.
Yes.
But you would have jumped to this step if it was all padded out for you.
Oh yeah.
You know, no problem. That's
Well,
why.
this will be the, you know what, the padding next week when we do this, but also when we stop the fabric, but also padding out the back and
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's all. I definitely. I mean, yes, I've done a lot of restoration
Right.
projects, but I mean, I've learned. My God, it's like, wow, this is a total rebuild, and this is.
You tackle. You're not afraid, Jimmy. You don't have the same anxieties that some of people. I will tell you a story before we leave. One short story.
Okay.
One of my wonderful students. I've had some really fascinating students. Some of them are smart. I told you about the student who corrected me on the flies. I thought flies had hearts. No, they don't have hearts. They have what, Jimmy?
A circulatory system.
A circulatory system, not a
Yes.
heart. They don't have organs
So
like we do.
for our next nature show,
But at one time, I have to tell a story about the cutting. You know how fearful people are about the cutting. So I had one student who didn't need to. He had a padded back, right? It was all ready to be upholstered, and he was trying to cut the seat. You know what he did? He cut out the back, and I came over, and his head was through here. He was so frustrated because he couldn't get the explanation of the cut from the front.
okay.
Because it's like working in a mirror, Jimmy. It's like his head was through here. Now he was an engineer.
That's
very-
what I was gonna. That was the next question I was gonna ask.
He was a very
What did
good-
he do for a living?
He was a very good engineer, okay? But his word, his head's through here, and he's looking down here. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I got two words for you: counterintuitive." See, he felt that the whole process of cutting was counterintuitive, and he was right, because it is.
But
So
I think
he thought that he needed a bird's eye view this way, being a good engineer that he was.
right.
At another time, it's funny how we all have different skills. His skill as an engineer was very good for his company, and he made pretty good money, but might not have been so good for an upholstery.
Well, it doesn't
right?
always apply to everything in life.
Another time, I was doing work with an architect, and he took my class. He wanted to experience the three-dimensional. Well, he did.
A real thinker.
A real thinker. So I did my simple thing like this. He says, I have a better way. I'm going to do a blueprint. So I said, okay. He came in the next class. Boy, he did a good job. It was a beautiful blueprint, but it was I think it was overthinking it.
Overdone.
Right. So this is why you guys never forget this, how we do this. And then we've shown that in other YouTube videos too, Jimmy, but I'm going to catch up on some business. Do we have any other comments or questions?
No.
We don't, you're sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Patrick, do we have any other comments or questions?
I think we're good.
Are you sure?
Lauren says she can't wait to see the settee class.
This is the class she's talking
Yeah, and
about.
I'm guessing I told them my prediction it'll be up in the summer. We still
Right.
have Jimmy's carved mahogany is next.
Wow.
Oh, the
Still
chair.
not.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
So-
that'll be fun, too.
it is a good one.
Yeah.
Jimmy, why don't you close this out, and you can use your thoughts as long as they're,
Oh,
Okay.
come on now.
No, why don't you stand in front of the camera and close this out?
Oh, my God. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in today. It was a longer class than usual, but Kevin and I, again, we banter an awful lot, and, well, we do get carried away. But hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Hey, good job, Jimmy.
Good job, Jimmy.